Hello, I'm Marissa. I'd like to share a story with you about how I found my best friend somewhere and in someone that I never even expected. My mom had been fighting cancer for a long time, but unfortunately, she didn't make it. So since I was 13, it's just been me and my dad. And the first year without my mom was a real torture for me. For both of us, I guess. Because of my grief, I became a real monster at home and the weirdest lunatic at school. Only now can I see those days for what they really were. But back then, I thought I was okay. For example, I remember one day when we had to talk about the most memorable journey we'd ever had in front of the whole class. Everybody was like, "We've been here and there with our parents," and so on. But for me, it was the second month without my mom. And when my turn came to speak up, I suddenly said that my most memorable journey was to the cemetery. Everybody got silent. The teacher took me to the principal, and they tried to get me to work with the school psychologist. I had also managed to ruin my friendships. I was envious of everybody else who still had their mom alive. So one day when my friends tried to entertain me with another movie and pizza night, and they were like chatting the whole time about trivial stuff, I just yelled at them and told them the only way they could understand me is to lose someone close to them. There was a moment, though, that changed everything. When I went back home from school, wearing black, as always, for a second I felt this feeling of warmth inside me because I smelled my mom's famous meatloaf. But when I saw an unknown woman in the kitchen cooking my mom's dish and my smiling dad nicely talking to her, the pleasant feeling inside me turned into a flame of anger. Dad said this woman, Rosie, was our new housekeeper. I went to my room without saying a word. How dare she cook according to my mom's recipes? How dare he hire a woman and let her do the things my mom used to do? I hated both of them. And I didn't have a single soul to talk to about all of that. Having nothing else to do, I just switched on my laptop and wrote down everything that I felt inside me. And you know, writing things down sort of made me feel different. Ever since that night, I began to create my own personal blog page. There were even some people who had started commenting on my posts and writing things back to me. There was another girl who had also lost her mom, and she seemed to feel exactly what I felt, and we kind of became friends. And our new housekeeper, Rosie, so badly wanted to get to know me, you know? She always asked me about how my day was and what I would like to have for dinner and so on, and that drove me nuts. I think she wanted to become friends with me, but, you know, I wasn't interested. And she was far from the top of the list of people I liked at that time. She was too smiley, I thought, taking into consideration the fact that she was working for sort of a damaged family. Even though my internet friend, her name was Claire, by the way, said that Rosie might just be trying to make our life easier, I still thought she was way too involved, you know, for just being a housekeeper. I remember that one day in particular that she really made me angry. She decided that I would look really pretty in pink and gave me an awful t-shirt. At first, I tried to be polite and said that I really appreciated her gift, but then she insisted on me trying it on. I didn't want to look like a piglet, and I totally knew I would never wear it, so I refused to try it on. She kept saying how good I would look in it, and even Dad heard this and supported her. This made me so mad. I yelled at both of them, saying I hated the color, and I ripped the t-shirt to pieces right there in front of Rosie and Dad. This sort of offended Rosie, and she even cried a little bit. Since then, we barely had any conversation at all. Then, after a couple of months, I still wasn't really talking to Rosie or my dad when they announced they had fallen in love with each other and that Rosie was going to live with us. It probably goes without saying that I was devastated when I heard this. I shouted at them that I hated Rosie and she would never replace my mom, saying that I hated when she cooked my mom's recipes and that my father was no longer a father to me. I locked myself in my room for almost 2 days, and Claire was the only person I could talk to, or rather write to. I wished that she was there next to me, but she lived far away. She promised that we'd see each other soon, and this was the only good and inspiring news I had heard. There's one more thing that you should know about Rosie. One day I needed to get a book from my dad in Rosie's room, and when I was in there, I noticed that my blog page was open on Rosie's laptop. It suddenly sort of dawned on me. I rushed to Rosie and asked her directly whether she knew something about my blog. She sighed and confessed that she was actually the girl that was talking to me the whole time. She said she never lied to me there in our correspondence. She just wanted to support me and found my blog and decided it was the only way that she could do that. Shocking information, right? Well, for me, it really was. I felt like my life had been ruined once again, since now I'd even lost my internet pal. I just couldn't believe this was all happening to me. I rushed to my room and so badly wanted to complain to someone, to tell anyone what had happened. But you know, there I was, left all alone again with no one to talk to. Soon after that, Dad knocked on my door. I said I didn't want to talk, but deep down inside, I missed him and wanted him to be there for me. So we had a talk, but it didn't start with Rosie. It started with my mom. I suddenly understood that Dad also loved her and missed her, and he didn't want to betray her memories, but instead just wanted both of us to move on. And then he got up to leave my room, and he said that if I can't stand Rosie that much, he won't get married, because I will always be the dearest person to him. Since then, I've been thinking about this situation over and over again, and have come to the conclusion that we need to discuss everything. I still blamed Rosie for what she had done, but I wanted my dad to be happy, and since we were going to become a family, I had to figure out a way to forgive her.